Hello, everybody, in losers world of life. I tell you something right now. Soccer, or association football, the quote-unquote true football according to Europeans. Now you could say the rest of the world, but it's like the only people who truly keep that conversation going are freaking Europeans, man. But I'm not trying to crap on European fans. It's just that's what they've been doing, you know. They're known for being the hatred part of the world, I guess you could say. Something along those lines, if you know what I mean. But it's whatever, you know. It's not the end of the world, probably. Well, anyway. Why is it not more popular in the United States compared to the rest of the world? Some might say, they're just idiots. Those purists, the purists of the sport, might go, they're stupid. Like, they don't understand the sport at all. They don't understand sports at all. Like, they don't understand anything outside of their own sports and something. Like, bro, you make yourself sound even more stupider than us. Because, bro, that's what they say every time. Like, every purist that ever, like, was a hardcore purist of any sport, that's what they always say. They say, nobody ever understands me except other people within this certain line, and you have to do these exact things to be considered a true fan. Like, you have to do, like, 28 technical things, and then they still don't consider you a fan because you didn't do it the quote-unquote exact way, even though that's exactly what you did. You know, those kind of people that are all very technical. Like, they know more technical stuff than you do. But the thing is it confuses people because it's popular elsewhere and wherever in the world, and it's viewed as the number one sport in most countries around the world. Not in every single country except America. That's not exactly true. It's most countries outside of America. Not all. Okay? Most. There's a difference. You know, there's 32 little black sheeps in all across the world that are not of that sport. You know? And then they say, it's mostly just North America. Like, no. If you ever seen those Indian videos, that they love their cricket, man. They love their cricket. So don't say there isn't like, it's just America. Like, yes, there are soccer / association football fans in India, but yeah, they just think cricket is better in their opinion, you know? Like, for them, it's not just a popular sport that's mainstream over there. It's the mainstream sport, you know? Like, it's the one. Like, to them, it's the sport that is India, you know? Like, that's how it is. And that's how it is with American football in our sporting world. And to us, and for most Americans, if you want to be a mainstream sport, at least by your average everyday American, you're gonna have to be in the top 3, which soccer, well, I'm gonna call it soccer for the sake of this video since, you know, I'm American and everything. It's not in the top 3. It is in the top 5, however. It is the 4th most popular sport. It kind of beat ice hockey because of the 2022 World Cup or whatever. Like, it's enough to probably realistically beat baseball in its current state, and I think I'm going to make this video a lot longer than it needs to be. But, yeah, surprisingly, it, for some reason, can't really beat baseball all that much. But I think it would go down mostly to 3 things. Okay, one would be advertising. And I know, shocker that American is talking about advertising from a country where the most famous sport, where in their final, or the Super Bowl as they call the final of the thing of the sport, it has so many ads. Yeah, but it's like, the thing about it is, what it does is it brings a bunch of non-fans into it. And I know a lot of people who used to just watch the Super Bowl because it had the ads and stuff, or they would only watch it during the ads, but then they actually got into the sport because they watched the ads all the time, you know? Like, they were really into watching the Super Bowl ads kind of thing. Like, they would do it to the point where they would watch, like, a compilation like that, where it was, like, ads within ads kind of thing, you know? Where they would probably see a few ads with that, like, they'll skip those, you know, those kind of things. But, unironically, I know a lot of people who, like, because of the Super Bowl halftime show, because they know a relative, and mostly just because of the ads. Sorry for the middle finger. Mostly just because of things like that, or people who normally wouldn't get associated with, like I said, the halftime show where they bring in famous celebrities from the current day or whatever to whatever that current day means, to get people constantly talking about it. Because yes, people might, only really talk about that, but look, a lot of the fans I know were not fans 2 or 3 years ago, because they were mostly just watching either the halftime show or maybe the ads if they got into it, But then they kept consistently watching it at some point, and then they became fans because, it can turn non-fans into lifelong fans. Now, another argument for it, like against this sport, is that people can't really name individual players rather than just naming the teams of names. But the thing is about it, like, they can only really name like the team names. But like I said, the thing is about it is, in the NBA, if you have like that one star player, unless you have some sort of special consistency, expect your team to suck for like the next 10, 20, 30 years, because they didn't have, I don't know, Michael Jordan in 1998. I don't know. But it's just whatever, man. Anyway, because of that, they're very star based, and because of that, those teams will just really suck because they don't really have a star player, and then once they do, it could be a hit, could be a miss. Whereas NFL team, you might not be able to name a single player, but it's like, what a Washington Commanders is, or you'll know who a Detroit Lions is, because of the culture that's associated with it. Like, even if you don't like the fan base, like, you're at least aware of the team, like that kind of thing. Whereas NBA, it's like, you may have heard of the Bulls, you may have heard of Magic, maybe the Lakers, but that's pretty much it. Like, unless you're a basketball fan, you're not going to really know, that kind of thing. And anyway, and then baseball is baseball. But yeah, and then after that whole marketing thing is two, which is culture. And what I mean by that is, it's no longer viewed as like this communistic, socialist sport. It's not like that anymore, because it's not really associated with those kind of people anymore, although there are a lot of people from those kind of groups that play the sport. I just mean, like, it's no longer associated as just the evil Wookiees group, that kind of thing. Well, it still is, but not as much. It's mostly just like that one old cranky guy who kind of forgot it's not 1955 anymore, Anyway, but the problem is it's still viewed as a very foreign sport. And that's because they only really appeal to rich, like really rich Latino women that are from California, that are in like their late 20s, early 30s, or sometimes early 40s in some cases, but mostly just in that late 20s, early 30s demographic. And the reason why I say that is because that, like, the racial thing is the whole, like, in almost every other country, and a lot of other countries that are associated with it, it's an everybody's sport. Men, women, dogs, cats. Over here, it's exclusively a rich women Latina sport. Okay? Mostly because on the women's side, USA has been scoring hard ever since they had World Cups for women's side. You know, even if they didn't win, they would still, like, score hard. You know, even though they're all, like, woke-ified now. You know, like, they're still on the top of their tea. You know, for the British people out there, I guess. But still, it's just whatever. But yeah, they got a lot of everything. Whereas the men's side, we were the best at 2002 so far, and that was pretty much it. You know, because the best we got is 2034. You know, that's pretty much all we really have, because it's more of a guarantee. Whereas the 2026 World Cup, it's just like FIFA got a little too greedy, you know. But they got so greedy, I don't even know if I should consider that capitalism. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day, if I even make one for that. But yeah, it's mostly just a cultural thing. And even if it still stays as like a super foreign sport, if it does somehow find its way as number one, there's gonna have to be some really good players. And speaking of really good players, I'm gonna move on to the third thing, which is having talent and turning that into skill. And the thing about this is, USA, on the men's side at least, has never won a World Cup when it comes to soccer. And the thing is, we've been close at times, like I said, with the whole 2002 World Cup. But the last time United States hosted a World Cup was in 1994. And then they'll have the 2026 World Cup, which is upcoming for me. I don't know about you in the future, but for me, at least when I'm recording this, that's the case. And we really suck. You know, we suck hard. You know, people are like, oh, they're going to suck so hard that they're just going to have to be fans of it. And it's like, no, there's not really much, like, there is a culture, but it's not as strong as it is in the rest of the world, where it's like the defining part of life. To here, it's not really a part of life. It's just kind of another sport, but it's whatever, you know. But the only reason why it's so high up is because Messi is in the MLS, you know. Then it's like, what is the MLS gonna do when Messi goes out? You know, are they gonna bring in freaking Ronaldo just for a casual run? I have no idea. Like, why would you do that? You know, and there was a whole bunch of other things with it. But then there's also the USL. USL has been kind of getting good, but still, it's just another sport over here. You know, it's not dominating. But I would say the number one thing that could make USA be like obsessed with this sport in like 5 to 10 years, within, like, if something happened, like, realistically, in a 5 to 10 year span, if USA were to ever win a World Cup within 5 to 10 years, it could be within, like, the higher piece of the big three. And it might even be number one within, like I said, 5, 10, 15 years. That's if we ever were to win a World Cup. But we haven't done that in the traditional men's side. But if we were, Yeah, that would probably happen, but until then, it's just, yeah, it really is just another sport to us. But, I'm not trying to crap on any actual, soccer fans from the US. It's just, you know, that's how it's mostly viewed. But who knows? Maybe one day this could conquer this part of the world. But I bet you the second it does, the rest of the world will stop caring about that sport simply just because, oh no, we're no more guarantee. Like it will lose its universality because all of a sudden that fat kid became massively like jocked up and did it all naturally and now wants to play against you. Like it ruins the game because now I can't just easily score against them, you know? But I guess it is what it is. Like you can't exactly change it and it's not gonna be popular everywhere because at some point, who knows, maybe we'll stay in the mainstream or stay as number one, but it's not guaranteed it will be number one. It's guaranteed that it will be mainstream, but, other sports exist and everything. Now, it's not to say, oh, you're just trying to put your NFL, ELF, propaganda into people's heads. And first of all, I don't work for them. And two, even if I did, it's whatever. It's like, it's just, what? Like, why would me, a person who would work over from there, trying to be pushing it too much, Because unless it's like, I was directly paid and oh, these are Secret Service agents and they know this and that. And it's like, man, dude, it's a sport about kicking balls and stuff and watching half-naked men running around across the field. Like, it's like a literal field, like you got grass and stuff on it. Like, don't that make sense in some way? Because, what else has grass out there? A field, A field filled with, I don't know, hay. But obviously, I didn't mean like a soccer field had hay. I just mean, the expression. But whatever. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. If you have another opinion, you can let me know. I have no idea if that sport will ever dominate. I do see it like if it happens, it will probably stay as mainstream. But yeah, it's just gonna mostly be gridiron, and you're gonna have to deal with that, But hey, it's sports, man. As long as you can separate it from your real life, everything's good, Because then you can actually worry about normal everyday things without having to think about that all the time because, it can get to your head. But I'm not saying you're not allowed to think about it. I just mean if you think about it too much, it will, like I said, get to your head and then it won't be fun anymore. That kind of thing. And yeah, you could just spice it up and put another sport in there too. Or frick it, just make an all combo in one sport. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this is pretty much just the end of the video. So see you later. And just remember, stay ugly.